Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fancast. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures and MF Uncensored. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, mostly begrudgingly. But anyway, we are also joined in the studio by co-host Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
Begrudgingly.
You're doing begrudgingly?
I'm just making sure you guys know how I feel right now. And all the way from Cinematic Adventures and, of course, Your Mom's Diary is Sean. Sean, how are you?
I'm just wonderful. I can't wait to talk about this.
I know, that's why we invited you.
I know. Thank you.
I saw this movie once.
Once? That's it?
Once.
Missing out, guys.
So,
it's a great movie.
We're going to preface this by saying I cannot take accountability or responsibility for the amount of jokes that will be made, especially by Ronnie.
Johnson.
Having said that, in today's episode, we're going to be... Are you Austin powering over there? Okay. All right. I don't know how I'm going to edit this already. It's 4 minutes. Not even 4 minutes. Oh my God. But we are talking about the 1994? 94?
No, 1990.
1990. Why do I keep saying 1994?
No.
Very strange. I'm going to edit it out.
You was in the pre-show too.
I did.
1990.
Yeah, 2 hours ago when
You
we
said
did it.
1999.
No, I said 1990.
No, you said 1999.
You said
That's
Your Mom's Diary said 1999.
That's the first year. That's when it started. But anyway. Oh, I know. Now that we're doing video, everybody's like, that guy. I can see
You
it.
can see it.
I can see it. It makes sense.
Makes sense.
But we are talking about the 1990 film noir special, Dick Tracy. And yes, I put the emphasis certain places just for you.
There you go.
Thank you.
You know, so I've been learning video editing, and one of the things I'm working on is making like words like and that like it just cuts like and they pop. And I already know that is going to just fill up the screen.
Just Dick.
Dick?
No, Tracy.
Tracy Phillips.
Tracy, yeah,
oh,
you
okay.
perverts. God.
Sorry, I
I didn't know if you meant Warren.
All right, that's fair. That's fine. Warren Beatty. All right,
Baby.
him too. Did I correct you every time you mispronounced Mila Kunis' name on Cinematic
You
Adventures?
sure it's not Beatty?
It's Mila.
You said Mila.
I did say
You
Mila?
always said Mila.
So many times.
I
You said it
apologize.
once.
I
for sure.
apologize. I apologize. That is a bad job on me.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're gonna actually be turning a lot of this episode over to Sean because he is an expert on Dick Tracy. I got
And
it.
this is on the Tracy, not the Dick.
I don't even know. I do know somebody named Tracy. I lied. Wow.
Yeah.
My
Do you
aunt's
know
name.
somebody named Dick?
No, that is.
Tom and Harry?
Well, let's actually address that. It's a very old school, old
because it's
fashioned
Richard.
name.
Richard,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's short for Richard. So, and that's another
Which I
name.
don't get, but
It could be
okay.
big for Richard.
Wow.
Remember the Saved by the Bell where he would call the principal Dick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, totally
I
fine.
go to the principal and say that nowadays.
I do, but anyway.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice.
anyway.
Good for you.
Because I'm still in high school, guys. So, Sean,
True.
give us a little breakdown. Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. So for any of our listeners out there who is going like, well, what does Dick Tracy have to do with, comic books and stuff? Well, Dick Tracy is a comic strip, created before Superman. 1931 was the first ever comic strip of Dick Tracy.
So, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Here's a question. This is normally a cinematic question, but
Yes.
we're gonna bring it over here because I've forgotten our other episode. Who would win in a fight?
There we go.
Dick Tracy
Or
or the?
Superman.
No, that's not fair.
Dick Tracy or
The Spirit. Ooh.
okay, well, I feel like that's not a fair fight because the Spirit has,
I'm talking comic book versions. I don't think the Spirit had powers in the comics.
that's a great question. I don't know. I never read the Spirit. I don't know. I'd probably still say Dick Tracy.
I feel like the Spirit would win just because he's more colorful.
Yeah. That's a great. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What's even funnier, the guy who played the Spirit in the movies was from Suits. We were just talking about Suits on Cinematic Adventures. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But yeah, so Dick Tracy is originally a comic strip. Was a big movie character back in the 30s and 40s. They would do like these really cheap films for like an hour and stuff like that. And we really never saw much more of the character again. And so I want to say it was recreated in the 60s during the comic book boom of the 50s and 60s. They brought Dick Tracy back, like they brought the Spirit back and all that stuff. And then we finally got a movie version in 1990 where Warren Beatty, Oscar-winning director, took over this project that I think had been languishing
in
for
development
years
hell.
in development hell, and he listen, I'm not gonna lie. Is this movie like perfect? No, there's a lot of like things wrong with this movie. But for just what he was able to pull off with this movie, with the practical makeups, the sets, the actors that he got in this movie, most of them probably his friends.
Well,
I mean, it's insane.
his name carried clout,
Oh,
and that was a
God.
big thing. And we look back at some of our '90s superhero movies, especially. The thing about Dick Tracy is he was easy to do
Yeah.
because it was a film detective noir type thing. Really,
Absolutely.
they spent most of their budget probably on colors.
The makeup
Yeah.
and the production design, I guarantee you, yeah. Because I did not research this. I really probably should have. Is what all the actors were paid for their. I mean, I'm hoping a lot of them were like paid scale, like nothing, just for shits and giggles. They came and they did this because we'll go over the cast in a little while, but this movie came out at a time when studios were obviously going, oh, we have to do comic book books.
Because we had just had the big
Literally,
hit of
the year earlier, we had Batman, which is Burton's Batman.
so
Huge blockbuster hit.
I was on another show recently. I got interviewed on a movie show, and we did Superman 78, 76?
70, yeah, 70.
78. And we talked about like that was the start. A lot of people credit like X-Men for the modern comic book boom, which is fair. But Superman was the first movie that really showed, hey, these are a viable thing.
It's a viable thing, but
And
then
it
it
makes
also
money.
kind of ruined it itself, and then Batman brought it back.
Yeah. So Batman '89 rolls around, and a lot of this, it's got a very similar feel to Dick Tracy, which is wild.
Yeah, that's
The
the
very-
noir look,
yeah.
that old black and white look, detective story, but Dick Tracy is just primary colors.
You know what really
In your
upsets me?
face.
A lot missed opportunity was when Sin City hit it big, doing a Dick Tracy movie in that style.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we got the Spirit instead.
We got the Spirit, and then we got Sin City too.
Yeah.
Which
Great movie.
That's a letdown.
Fun fact for those
I
who
do like the Spirit movie. It's so bad.
oh, it's so bad.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact though, from the fanny pack, one of our highest downloaded episodes up until I really started putting work on YouTube was our Sin City episode.
I believe it.
I have no idea why.
That movie
Vegas.
I love that movie.
Because of
I'm pretty
Vegas.
sure people were searching.
You
Vegas.
type in Sin City for Vegas and that pops up.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But back to your thing about how much people got paid. I just saw
There
this.
we go.
Oh,
Well,
well,
only on one of them though.
Okay.
okay.
And that was Miss Madonna.
Yeah,
Mhm.
$35,000.
that's nothing.
Yeah,
That's nothing.
that's nothing.
They were actually dating at the time.
Yeah, and
Me
she
Warren
was
Beatty.
like a big part in the movie too.
Yeah, she
Like,
was.
It wasn't
you would
like
easily say she
a
was the
background or
second
anything
lead,
like that. Yeah.
second, third lead.
I
in the
So
rock-
you would assume they would all get paid around there. Obviously, someone like Al Pacino
Mhm.
paid more because it's Al Pacino
Mm.
or whatever. But
So ironically enough, I have Sirius XM radio,
Mhm.
and the '90s on 9 station was on the other day, and producer Melanie and I were going for a drive, and the song that she sings in it comes on.
Really?
Yeah. And
Which is weird because I know it's technically it was made in the 90s, but that song is like has a 30s feel to it.
Yeah.
but like they play it and we're listening to it, we're like, man, she's kind of a floozy.
Which
Yeah.
song?
The one that she sings about like the role of women. And,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I forget the name of it, but it was very
I
funny.
Want More? Was it like
I
Want
think maybe
More?
something like that.
Fun fact, songs in this movie, music and lyrics by the great Stephen Sondheim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's his only feature film score he ever did.
And what a feature film score to have.
I'm sorry, not score, feature film music, because Danny Elfman did the score for the movie.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
That makes
my bad.
sense. No, it's fine.
the great Danny.
The great Danny Elfman. No, you were not wrong.
Okay. Now we gotta do this thing with Danny
Danny
Elfman.
Elfman.
Yeah. It's
Danny
one of
Elfman.
the best Family Guy jokes of all time. All right, so let's jump into we'll do the cast first because obviously it's got a very big, diverse cast, and also I want to say I don't remember which VHS it was, but
Mhm.
one of my tapes had the trailer for this,
Yeah, because technically it's a Disney movie. It's Touchdown.
which is wild.
Yeah,
So I don't remember what it was, but it was something that I would always see and always watch.
Yeah.
I'll lay it. So this is 1990. I don't think it would have been an animated movie. So probably Honey I Shrunk the Kids. I will guarantee you.
Ooh, it might have been Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Favorite movie.
That's definitely.
Because that was 89
Yeah.
video. It wasn't an animated movie because they would not put Dick Tracy in front of like Little Mermaid or
No.
Beauty and the Beast. But it's fun when you think back to that. Like I saw this trailer. What video
Yeah.
did I watch this trailer on? And I'm like,
Right.
oh. But yeah, the cast is incredible, as we've said. I mean, we'll go over it right now.
Let's go over it right now.
Yes, sir. We have the great Warren Beatty, who is the director and the star playing the character Dick Tracy.
Has he been in anything else before this, or
Bonnie and Clyde.
never heard of that?
He won the Academy Award for directing a movie called Reds, which is one of those
Is it a
movies.
sequel to Blues?
Brothers.
He had just no, I think the following year he did a movie Bugsy, which was very good. I mean, he's been in a bunch of movies. He's a star.
What's he up to now?
He's retired.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Is he still alive?
Yes, he is still alive.
Okay. All right.
Damn, he's old then, huh?
He's gotta be in his 80s.
All right. So really quick, who would win in a fight?
Yes, sir.
Me.
Dick Tracy or the man in the yellow hat from Curious George?
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
I don't know. He puts up with that monkey,
He does put up with the monkey.
and that monkey gets into some
But
shenanigans.
Dick Tracy has a gun.
Yeah, but he doesn't. How many people does he kill in this movie?
Dick Tracy?
Yeah.
3.
30.
See, you know what I love about?
Close.
Wow. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. What I love about movies like this, especially because I remember this is the first time I ever realized it, like as a kid, they all have Tommy guns,
Mhm.
which I learned was called the Tommy gun from The Mask, which is another movie we have not yet done. So
Oh, we did.
The Mask and Multiverse Fancast?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
The
on
Mask is a great movie.
Oh, one day we're gonna do
No,
something
we
like
did
this.
do the mask because I refused to talk about Son of the Mask.
Oh, that's probably fair. And you probably haven't seen it.
No, because I refused to watch it because
I-
it's garbage.
Oh, that's fair. So but that's also the scene, like when he calls it, he's like a Tommy gun, and he
Yeah.
makes it out of a balloon. I was like, oh, that's what that's called. 8-year-old Paul learning things. But I remember in the trailer for this, it was the first time I ever noticed how they shoot Tommy guns in all these movies,
Mhm.
where it's down at their
Yeah.
hips and they're just moving back and forth. Same thing in like The Rocketeer and all these other movies where
Yeah.
I'm like, they don't aim.
Yeah.
And my favorite though, in any movie where they fire guns,
Mhm.
they can be up at shoulder length and it's hitting the ground. The ground's popping. Like
What?
what? Are they
That's not how it works.
shoot up?
I like as we said before, this movie came out, and this is a time when the studios were like, okay, let's start doing all these comic book movies, but they weren't comic book movies that you would think to do. Like they weren't trying to do Spider-Man, they weren't trying to do X-Men. They were finding all these kind of like
Fun fact.
low-key titles. So like this.
Michael Jackson was trying to do Spider-Man. As I mentioned, well, I
Well,
think
we did
couple
a
episodes.
couple
yeah, a couple of
episodes
episodes again, we were talking about what if castings.
What if?
Yeah, and Michael Jackson was trying to get I
Trying.
think and James Cameron too.
Well, James
Yeah.
Cameron he was trying to do Spider-Man in the 90s, but he knew it's like I can't pull this off.
Yeah, it doesn't have it.
Yeah.
But like you had this movie, you had the Rocketeer, you had the Phantom, you had the Shadow.
Oh my god, with
Yeah.
Alec
All these
Baldwin,
movies that
yeah.
are based off of like comic strips, not comic books,
Because they were also easier to do,
Yes.
just from a
Yeah.
technical standpoint.
and they all feel the same. Like when
Oh,
I
yeah.
watch Dick Tracy, when I watch the Phantom, when I watch Rocketeer, to me, I feel like I'm watching the same movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love all of them. The Shadow's the only one I'm like that movie was.
I don't think I've ever actually seen
It
it.
was
No.
horrible.
Yeah.
So hard.
But you also got your Dark Man's coming around the same
Oh,
time.
Darkman! Thank you. I
Yeah.
forgot about Darkman.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the cast. We have Madonna, and this is Madonna.
No less name.
No last name.
Hmm.
Actually, I truthfully don't even know her real name.
Like McLovin.
Her real name. Her
real name.
acting Madonna is her first name.
her
actually.
real name is Madonna.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
I
What's
thought
her last name?
Contention or something like that.
Too bad it's not Madonna.
Madonna.
Julia Gulia.
Banana Rama.
Pajama Rama.
Banana Rama.
I can't wait to find clips from this episode. But anyway.
What?
So yeah, Madonna's in the movie. What's the name of her character?
Breathless Mahoney.
See, I like this because it's weird that Dick Tracy's the most normal name.
And,
Yeah, right.
and what's fun about this movie is, and again, if you're into the comic strip, all these villains, there's all these characters that didn't appear together at the same time. He took all the characters and was like we're putting everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
think also, again, this movie went through development hell. It was on the shelf for a long time. And Warren Beatty comes in and he's able to kind of get it going because they have the star power and probably the finances to do it. So it makes sense that they're like, we're probably not going to get a sequel. Might as well just get them all in.
Yeah.
I want to say they probably planned to do one, but I think the movie didn't end up doing as well as they expected it to. I also think Warren Beatty's not the easiest person to work for.
I can see that.
Numerous actors have said like we love him as a person, but as a director, he is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. How many movies did he direct off the top of your head?
I mean, he's directed at least 10 plus movies. I mean, he's done a lot, and stuff.
All right, let's keep going down this path.
We got I'm gonna just keep going.
Just
we
keep
got
going.
the great Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice. Actually was nominated for an Academy Award for that performance.
Was he really?
He really was. He had 2 nominations that year. He was nominated for Big Boy Caprice, supporting actor, and he was nominated for Michael Corleone for Godfather 3, for lead actor.
Wow.
And he steals the movie.
Oh yeah.
He absolutely steals the movie. He's almost unrecognizable in the makeup. The makeup is fantastic in this movie.
The only other movie that he did a better performance, in my very humble opinion, is Jack and Jill.
Okay.
Still never seen this movie.
Oh god, it's bad.
We have Glenn Headley as Tess Trueheart, who is Dick Tracy's girlfriend. Charlie Korsmo as the kid, and this is before Hook.
Yep.
And the kid is an actual character from the comic strips. He ends up becoming Dick Tracy Jr. We have
That was another big thing in like the 90s, especially all these junior characters. You had Indiana Jones Jr., you had Hercules Jr. Yeah, like they had a ton of like juniors.
We have Seymour Cassell as Sam Ketchup, one of Tracy's closest associates. Charles Durning as Chief Brandon. Dick Van Dyke as District Attorney John Fletcher. Kathy Bates as Mrs. Green. Literally, she's in the movie for 5 seconds as a stenographer. Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles. William Forsythe as Flat Top, who was the top hitman in Big Boy's gang. James Tolkien, who many people might know as Principal Strickland from the Back to the Future movies, as Numbers. Mandy Patinkin as 88 Keys, a piano player. We got Paul Sorvino as Lips Manless. James Caan as Spud Spaldoni, who is sort of like the other big criminal head that Big Boy is up against. And that's pretty much it in terms of the real big names. She's in it, but I swear to God, I've never seen her. Like, she's in it. Like, I can never find her though. And I think her stuff got cut.
Yeah.
So
that's just a lot to do with the makeup and all that stuff too.
Well,
half these people you don't recognize.
That's true. You wouldn't know it's, like I said, unless you really knew it was Pacino.
Yeah.
So going through that cast list and hearing all those names, if you were a character in this movie, what would your name be? Because like some of those names are just so much fun.
The names.
I feel like Sean, you'd be Frito Lay.
Oh God, that's
It's kind of funny though.
It's funny, but it's also not.
Yeah.
What would you be then?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Mine would be like Wise Ass.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'd
He'd be
be
begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly. Like B. Dot. Begrudgingly.
He'd be
Barnabas grudgingly.
something iconic, because that's his favorite word. Iconic.
Something iconic.
Iconic?
Yeah, you use iconic a lot when we do.
No, I'd be called Anywho.
Anywho.
Yeah,
Anywho.
Anywho.
Like the kid from Hook, No Name, or Don't Ask.
Don't ask.
Don't ask. I always thought it was donut.
So did I. Stop it. Don't you dare. Don't even think about it. I swear to God.
What?
Anyway, so
Nice.
let's actually go through the plot. I know normally on Multiverse we don't go through plots too much, but because obviously this is a movie that came out almost 40 years ago.
It's 1990, so yeah, 34 years ago.
I had to really put that into perspective, and it kind of hurt.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's run through
I was
the actual. You were one. You're still number one. Yeah, that would actually be your name. Number one.
Number one.
Yeah, not number two.
Number two.
No. God, this cross promotional stuff between the shows is getting really confusing. Anyway, so Sean, give us a brief plot synopsis for this
It's my movie. Yeah.
Pretty much, it's the city is sort of being overrun by, the criminal.
Is it
gangs.
like a New York City, or is it? Do
They
they
never
name
really,
it?
They never really say. So it's like a Chicago, New York,
Because in Sin City, the name of the city is actually called Basin City,
Basin City.
but they call it Sin, Basin.
I'm actually now that you said,
I don't think it actually
I'm
based
torn.
anywhere.
Whoever gets the research first done.
I think it's just one of those, it's either
Yeah,
Chicago or New York. Those were your big mob towns back then.
Big Boy Caprice pretty much kills a rival gang boss and pretty much tries to take over the city. Dick Tracy is sort of the only one that can really stop anyone. And it's kind of, you get to meet all these characters. Breathless is a singer in a club. She is
The femme fatale.
She is a femme fatale. You don't know what side she's on. She kind of plays I'm not on anyone's side, I'm on my side. I think that's an actual line in the movie. She clearly likes Dick Tracy. He clearly likes her, but they don't end up together. And it's really just kind of back and forth between Dick Tracy and Big Boy Caprice, kind of like trying to outsmart each other. So there's a lot of montages, a lot of stuff where, like he plants someone in Big Boy's thing to find out where they're going to hit. And it's, it's just kind of the story itself is not the greatest. Don't get me wrong;
No.
it's really not a great story. But it's
Mhm.
just again, it's everything else that makes the movie work for me.
So we've talked a lot about, especially comic book movies, where if you have the perfect marriage of visuals and script and like they all kind of come together,
Mhm.
and comic book movies are notorious in certain ways that they don't always have the best scripts, but sometimes the visuals are just so good you can kind
Yeah.
of just ignore it. Like I love Avengers Endgame, but in all honesty, like it was the ending to that story. The script is a a
Yeah.
goodbye letter.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not a movie you could just sit down and watch if you've never seen any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, like when I watch any comic book movie, I look at spectacle first and then I look at scripts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is funny that you both agree with it because you both still argue Batman versus Superman with me. Ha! Set you guys up for that one. Yeah, defend yourselves.
I'm not defending anything. I still think it's a shitty movie.
Yeah.
But the spectacle.
What spectacle?
So the visuals are fantastic in that movie.
They're all the same.
You're all the same.
Thank
I'm
you.
not even gonna get
Stupid. But anyway. But going back to it, like in all honesty, the detective noir aspect of it really brings a different level of comic book movie to it because we don't get that a lot. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until Sin City rolled around that people were like, hey,
Oh, wow, this is great. And I remember sitting in the theater watching Sin City, and I'm just like, this reminds me of Dick Tracy.
right.
It's totally different than Dick Tracy, but
Mhm.
it just reminds me of it. The makeup, the storyline, obviously, the time period. It's got that look, and I'm just like, oh, if they could remake Dick Tracy using this, this filmmaking style, I'd be there in a second.
Is it too late though for that? Like,
I think so. I think Sin City 2 killed it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Again, I still don't know what the hell happened in that movie.
so I'll tell you exactly what happened. Sin City and 300 come out around the same time. They had that very similar aesthetic to them, that
Yeah.
very like the comic book panel style,
Yeah.
right? Where they do the contrasting colors and the stick out moments and stuff like that. And they obviously they rip scenes right from the comics. As much as I love Zack Snyder, and I'll defend most of Zack Snyder, visually he always puts on a show.
Mhm.
Like you look at Watchmen, you look at 300, and yes, you look at Batman vs Superman, all those stuff.
Yes.
There's this outstanding visuals, but then stories where he suffers. Sin City had a great story, had great visuals, had a great cast, and I normally don't like anthology type movies or series.
Yeah.
It works for that. They then waited too long, and in the interim of Sin City and Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, you got your Spirit,
Mhm.
you got your 300 Rise of an Empire,
Mhm.
and just people weren't interested anymore. It was done.
It's
Yeah.
fair.
And the story of Sin City: A Dame to Kill
Well, I
For.
think that's a factor too. Is I just think the storylines in the sequel for Sin City were a big factor in why it wasn't that good. I also feel like the characters weren't as intriguing as
Mhm.
they were in the original. But it's like, compared to this, and I think the downfall for this movie for Dick Tracy is I think they put too much into it to start off. Whether, and I really don't know. I like to think they probably were, as you said, I don't know if they were intending to do a sequel. Because again, sequels weren't a thing really. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
really, that wasn't the studio's mindset. They just wanted to make their money, and that was it.
When did Batman Returns come out?
92.
92. I was curious. I was like, is this during the time where they wanted to get away from the really ultra violent? Because this is a pretty violent movie.
Yeah.
Like for
I mean, there's no blood, but you clearly see people getting shot,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But yeah, no, this is not. This is literally right after Batman. I mean, it's and I'm just, again, I think the downfall was he probably introduced too many characters, but they were probably going like, we're not probably going to do another one, so you really want to get all these characters in there? Yeah, I don't know, but I think that might be where the downfall is.
I'll
where
also
it's a little
argue
too
that
much.
the beginning of the 90s was a weird time for entertainment where suddenly parent groups were up in arms, right? It happened earlier in the century with the Comic Code Authority and
Yeah.
parents being like, comic books are destroying the youth.
Then we got it with the rap music and all
Rap
that
music,
stuff.
but like for our generation, especially with television, Power Rangers, then South Park, were the two big ones that parent groups were like, what are our children watching? And now, now the accessibility of anything is wild beyond belief.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other conversation. That's an MF Uncensored. And we did do an MF Uncensored on that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Thank God for my parents though, because I mean they let me watch Power Rangers. I mean there was nothing objectionable in that show.
No.
Not a drop of blood in Power Rangers.
Nothing. It was a freaking kid show.
Yeah.
I was a big Bad Beetleborgs fan.
I did like Big Bad Blue
yeah,
Lights
yeah.
because of the monsters
and also the catchiest theme songs.
and VR Troopers.
I like VR Troopers as well, but I would love to do an actual episode on like no, like seriously on the because that was a big
And
thing.
Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Also, Mass Rider.
I didn't know that one.
That they introduced him in a Power Rangers episode and spun him off.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of those Sentai shows.
Well, the Sentai shows were big. I mean, again, it's the copycat,
Yeah.
thing. We'll do all
What
that.
works?
But as we've said, I mean, Dick Tracy is the copycat league. It's like, oh, Batman came out, let's do this.
Mhm.
Dick Tracy came out, oh, okay, Rocketeer, let's do, the Phantom.
What
let's
year
do
was
that.
Rocketeer?
I think Rocketeer was 90 or 91.
What a weird, like a great,
And that was also Disney.
like a great time for comic book movies, but they're
Yeah.
all kind of, and then Steel came out. But
Classic.
I think it's funny how this Dick Tracy, this Rocketeer, Phantom, and Shadow, they all suffered, because
Oh, yeah.
again, I don't think they were the strongest characters
Mm-mm.
for this time period. Like they worked back in the 30s, they worked with the comic strips, but did they really adapt well to film?
right.
I still think you could pull off a Dick Tracy movie today. I think
I
with
would
the
actually-
right person looking over that project, the right way to film it, I think you could do it. The problem is he has the rights to it, and he has not done anything with it.
I actually think Dick Tracy would work really well like as a Jack Reacher style show.
Yeah, but
Like,
I would want.
Yeah.
See, I would want it to look like that.
It's got to have the aesthetic, right? So I think, but doing it like on Peacock or a
Something
streaming,
like that.
I
Or Disney
think-
Plus. I don't even care where you put it.
I honestly think it would benefit greatly from
Yeah.
being some sort of a streaming show.
Yeah.
Again, there was not a single CGI effect in this entire movie.
Mm-mm.
Every actor was put
Practical.
under. Every actor was put under like mounds of makeup.
Yeah.
The sets were all real. Sadly, that whole set burned down not too long after the movie was done. So that's another reason why they never did another one, because they didn't want to rebuild all those
Yeah,
sets.
Right.
But I just love this movie. For the way it looks, the way it was put together. It's just one of those movies that it will always be like, kind of like really good.
Production value alone, it's worth its spot in history. There are plenty of movies and TV shows where like the production value is super high, but like it's not a good show or movie. Like you don't watch it for that.
Yeah.
Like we just started watching the Halo show, and it's all right, but
I didn't even know there was a show about
no, yeah, they're starting season 2. But like they started this Halo show, and
Mhm.
the production value is wild. The show's just kind of okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like you're spending all that, on that, and it's like, what are you gonna get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
again, you watch it and you're like, wow, like the suit is fantastic. Like, it's a practical suit for a lot of it, and it's like it looks fantastic, and it's like ripped out. Same thing with this, like, and also like you look at the spirit ripped the suit right out. Like it had the look of the comics and
God,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
That was more ripped from the comics than Dick Tracy was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
literally like the comics brought to life.
And we talked about the spirit. The problem with the spirit was they deviated too far from the source material. They
Yeah.
wanted to add like all this mysticism and all this
Mhm.
stuff into it. It just didn't work.
And it was just stupid.
Oh yeah.
It was like a fun stupid.
I will never not love the line though when he wakes up. Gabriel Macht from
from Suits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wakes up and he's like, somebody get me a tie, and it sure as hell better be red.
So-
He just leans into it. And the same thing with this, Warren Beatty. I keep doing that.
Warren Beatty's probably the most boring part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's playing it straight, but that's
Yeah.
Dick Tracy. Everyone else is hamming it up.
Mhm.
And I think that's what works. Like I said, this might be the most overblown performance ever by Al Pacino.
No, you got to see just one scene from Jack and Jill.
Well, you know what I mean? Like
No.
legitimate performance.
Yeah.
Like
No, I gotcha.
he is just hamming it up and he's having a great time.
I can
mean,
imagine.
Dustin Hoffman, for the 5 minutes he's on camera, just you can't understand what he's saying. He's just mumbling along. So this movie's budget at 1990 was 47 million.
Wow.
Worldwide,
Oh.
it ended up doing 162 million.
So it wasn't a bomb.
No, it was not a
No.
bomb.
Like it did well.
It did well, 103 million just in US and Canada, and then another 59. But yeah, I think it was a mixture of it didn't make the Batman numbers, so Disney was
Yeah.
like,
and
and also again, I don't think Disney really wanted to continue to work with Warren Beatty.
yeah.
That's another reason why we never got another one. But
Sorry.
I can still hope that we'll eventually get a Dick Tracy movie at some point.
I'd be okay with it. But Sean, Star City rating
Wow.
4.
I give it 4.
A 4?
I love this movie.
That's solid.
I give
That
it
is a
4.
solid movie. Ronnie?
Again, I only watched it once. That's probably as much as I'd watch it.
That's more than you've watched some of the stuff that we.
You can't find it
show.
anywhere either. It's
Can't.
not. It's not
You
on.
gotta buy
It's,
it.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
on. It's not on Disney Plus. It's not on any streamer.
Which is weird that
I own
Disney-
it, so I can watch
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm sure that might have something to do with Warren Beatty.
Probably.
Same thing with Dogma. Can't watch Dogma anymore
Really?
because
It's the one. It's the Weinstein, right?
terrible Weinstein has the streaming right to it,
That's it.
and he doesn't want to release it just because he's a terrible human being.
That
Among
makes
other
sense.
reasons. Yeah, among other
Yeah.
reasons.
But yeah, I would say this is like a 3.
Okay.
3 to me.
Above average.
Above average. It good for its time. Obviously not as good as Batman, but that's what Disney thought it was gonna be.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. It's more on production value alone, and just
Yeah,
it looks so good.
it does.
Like it is a good looking movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pretty good consensus all around. We got to do a movie where we all just completely disagree. That'll be a fun time.
That was Batman vs Superman.
No, you guys ganged up on
No,
that.
because we ganged up on him.
Yeah, that's
We
it.
ganged up.
Like it was like 2v1.
Oh, you want like all three of us? Have
It was a better fight
Like-
than Batman and Superman.
Like he wants to be like a 5, a 3, and a 1.
yeah, you gotta like battle royale it. But
I can make that happen.
I know you can make that happen. You're gonna find the one movie that we're all like, I love it, I hate it. Like,
Because I'm indifferent.
and I'm here. But that is,
I'm Sean.
and I'm Sean. It's hard finding movies that Sean doesn't like that he'll talk about. Like
Blades of Glory.
he won't talk about it.
I'll talk about
Did
it.
you talk about Blades of Glory?
I'll talk about any Will Ferrell movie.
Oh dear God. Actually, that would be a lot of fun. Save it, hold
I
it
just
in.
want to know, like,
There it
when
is.
did this, like, did I actually come out and say I hate Will Ferrell?
Yes,
When?
you have.
I've said I hate him.
In the annals of our friendship.
I've said
the
I
what?
hate Will Ferrell, and I refuse to see any of his movies. I've actually said that because I don't recall ever saying that.
Yes.
I've shown disdain at some of his movies because I think
Thank
they're
you guys for
stupid.
listening today or watching if you are on YouTube.
So if you guys want more of our
I'm
content,
saying, I really don't remember ever saying that.
so if you guys want more of our content, you can check out our website, misfitfaction.com. You'll find links to all of our shows. We're also on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Just type in the Multiverse Fancast or Misfit Faction. Odds are you'll find some of our stuff. If you want to hear more of Sean, you can also check out Cinematic Adventures. He is the co-host and just all around fun guy to be around. And if you want more Ronnie, well, Tinder, Grinder, all those things, you'll be fine.
Not Grinder.
Oh, sorry. But that will
I
wrap.
like sandwiches.
It's a sandwich
Hoagies.
called gyros.
Euros, actually.
That's going to wrap us up for today. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
Sean, this isn't your show.
But to say.
We're going to try that
I
again.
am Sean.
And we'll be back in a flash.
There were